Well, welcome to Arts and Minds Online for our 8th session. Um, we're hearing from some people about how you enjoy the program, and that's very gratifying. The program was set up initially as a program for people living with dementia and their caregivers, and we've expanded, and certainly everyone is welcome to try the activities. We welcome anyone who wants to do this, and also to have you send us photos of work that you've done. We always appreciate that, to know that people are out there doing these activities, and we're really happy when people send a photo. The other day, I must say, we received a photo of what someone had done with our very first session, which was the 3 sheep, and someone who was a ceramic artist actually did it in clay. And that was really fun to get. So anyway, on with today's Arts and Minds. Last week, we did lilacs. I have it here. We did this. I hope you visited our site. I hope you had time to try this out. It was kind of fun because we used cotton swabs. All right, so it was a fun activity, which I hope you've had time to do. I thought when we did the lilacs that would be the last of our spring flower theme, but alas, it isn't. We have one more spring, probably the most prolific flower, which many people would call a weed, in our gardens these days, and that's the dandelion. So we can't leave that one out. So that's what we're going to do today. I went looking for photos, for pictures of fields of dandelions. It's not hard to come by. They're everywhere. They're in everybody's lawn, the scourge of everybody that wants to have green grass. But I did go to the experimental farm, and there's some beautiful fields of dandelions there with, red barns in the background and so on. They were lovely. And they made lovely photos. So I thought that would be a nice activity to do for us today. And I started to paint one, and I was using acrylic paints on canvas and going along. But it wasn't taking shape. It wasn't working. I couldn't get it right. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And so, and the harder I worked at it, as many of you will know, the harder I worked at it, the worse it got. So finally I realized, and it's a good lesson, that I really wasn't committed to that picture. And if you're not really committed to a picture, you don't do a good job of it. So, so I didn't do it. I didn't finish it in any case. And what I thought I really wanted to do was something a little looser, a little more abstract, and of course with watercolor. So that's what we're going to do today. This is a watercolor one, as I mentioned. You can use any other medium, and the list of materials will, as always, be up on the screen. So you're going to need whatever medium you choose, and that could be watercolor, it could be acrylic paints as well. You can use colored pencils, you can use those watercolor crayons that we've used before, whatever medium you like. Paper, this is 9 by 12, it doesn't matter the size at all. And this is watercolor paper. You can use ordinary paper if you're using colored pencils. If you're using acrylic, you'll have to go with a canvas of some sort. So, as I say, Herman will have that list on the screen for you. So, if you're using paints, you will also need a container to put for water. You will need paper towel, and you will need 2 brushes. You're going to need a brush, a fairly big brush, and then the smallest brush you've got a little teeny little brush, that would be great for doing detail. So I think that's it. Oh, the colors. You will need yellow, green, 2 different greens if you have them, a light green and a darker green. You'll need blue, you need a bit of red and a bit of white. So now's the time for you to to pause and gather up your materials and get yourself comfortable, and we'll start our field of dandelions. Okay, we're ready to go. Let me just take this down, put up our blank, and there's nothing on the blank. There's no drawing today. We're just going to paint the drawing on. Right? So I am going to move this again so that you can get a little closer view of it, I hope. Let's get a little closer to it. All right, let's try that and see how that works. All right, we're going to start with the big brush. And we're going to start up in the sky. I'm using, as I mentioned, watercolors, and I'm just going to give them a bit of a spritz because they've been sitting and gotten a bit dry. I'm going to start in the top with a little bit of light yellow. I might even put a bit of white with that so that it's just a creamy color. And you have to make sure that it is really, really wet. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, okay, and really wet. And I'm going to start up here. And I'm just making some blobs, all right? And as I say, it's very, very light. Maybe make it a little bit more, though, that you can see it. And the point is, it has to be really quite wet. I'm making some blobs here and there. These are going to end up being your kind of clouds in the sky. Some more down here. I'm going to bring this part down to here. We're working on the sky, even though we're doing yellow here. Leave lots of white. Okay. Okay. Just so it's not too dark to start with, make it very, very wet, and then start putting in the blue. And again, it's going to overlap the colors. Oops, and it's running because normally you would not have this standing up on an easel. I'm going to put a little bit darker in here and there. I like that better. Darker in here and here. I've got to get it a little bit wetter. I'm going to come down about there, about that far down the page with the sky. And I'll keep going with this for a minute. Over here with a little bit darker again. Again, I'm just going to leave some white as well. Mixing it in with the yellow. And as I said, there was no drawing, so it's just free. Oops, I don't want it that dark down there. Darker parts should be closer to the top. Whoops, wrong color. Trying to do this a little too quickly here. And come down here. All right, that's, I think, enough of the idea. What I did on the reference, which you can see, is also up here, I added a little bit of pink. If you want to do, I'm not going to do that right now, but when we get back to seeing the reference, you'll see a little bit of pink. You can also do that. As I say, it's on such an angle, I really can't see how this looks, but you get the idea of that. I think I'm going to just put a little more, just a little more up in here. Okay, and bring that together. Yeah, I like that better. All right, that's the sky. Now, before you take a break to do that, we're going to do the grass area as well. And you will have seen, or you will see on our reference, the grassy areas, again, just very loose. I'm going to start with a light yellow. With watercolor paint, this is a lemon yellow. I'm sure you have other medium as well, but it's a nice color. So I'm going to start with that. And again, That's too dark. White on that. Just head up into the sky a little bit here. Again, and always as with watercolors, leave white showing. I think that's maybe enough of the yellow for now. You never really know until you sort of add another color, and then you can come back to that. Now I'm going to add, I have a very lightish green that I like. I like this color green, so I'm going to add that now. And just sort of, and I'm going to go over top of some of the yellow, just putting it here and there. Good idea not to make this too dark. Go up and down because it's grass in here. Up and down like so. Okay. When you come to do yours, you'll take more time with this perhaps, but again, don't overdo it. Make it as loose as you can, and don't be afraid. Don't cover all the space. Okay. And I'm not adding any darker green at the moment. I'm just going to leave it, I think, like that. Just a little more here. Okay. Very roughly, there's the sky and the grassy area. So what I would like you to do now is pause at this point and do this much of the painting, and then come back and we'll be ready to put our dandelions in. Okay, here we are again. And again, every now and then I know that her mom will put up the reference, and so that you can see what it is that we're doing. We're going now to put the dandelions in. And as you know, as I say, I mean, this is a field of dandelions, but it's kind of like from the perspective of an insect. It's like from an ant's view, where you're sort of down on the ground, looking at the dandelions, looking up at the dandelions. So that they look much taller than they really are. So this is where you get to use if you're using paint, your skinny little brush. And I'm going to I haven't drawn them, so it's going to be interesting. I want this a bit darker, this green a bit darker, so I don't have a really good dark green in this, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue. All right, then I'm going to make some stems, some tall stems. Now, because these are have to be quite narrow, quite thin. You don't want to press down too hard on the brush. I always find it kind of hard to just do that by just holding the brush. So I like to rest it on my other hand, just so that I've got a little more. Okay, and then you just go down like so. Okay, there's one. I'm not going to put many in, just a couple more. They should be fairly, straight. Make them different heights. Put one over here. Maybe make a taller one over here. Maybe make this one even a little bit taller than that, so that they're looking up in the sky. Some little short ones down here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the dandelions before you pause. You can put as many dandelions as you like in there. Now, we're going to use yellow, obviously, for the dandelions, but you might want to add a little bit of red or orange to make an orange. The dandelion is sort of almost an orange color, and depending on where we end up here, what's in the background, we might need to put orange to make it show. So let's start down here with the dandelion. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't show very much, so I'm going to add a little bit of red to that. There we go. And there's a little sort of center part. The dandelion's got many, many, many petals, so you're not going to cover all those, but just give the indication of a dandelion. We'll do another one over here. If you can do it with just yellow, that's fine. Here, let me just try yellow on that one because it's a whiter background. It might work. And I'm going to make this dandelion so not quite open. Up like that. No, I think it needs a little orange. Yeah, it needs a little orange. This one up here, I'm going to put okay, so we've got some dandelions in here. Just before you pause also, with your green, with your sort of darker green, at the top of the stem, make sort of a little triangle where the flower meets it. This, and I'm not doing all of them. Oops, a little more paint on there. And there you might want to add a little more to the stem. Here, it's kind of blowing in the wind as it is up here. Like so. And you know, I mean, I'm not going to finish all of these, but as you do this, like I think at this point I probably would also make some of these stems a little bit darker. I think that's you decide what you think, but I think they need to be a bit darker. We're going to add something else anyway. In any case, good time to pause and do your dandelions and this little bit at the top. Okay, so do that and come back. Okay, now down at the bottom, we need to put a little bit of some of the leaves in. The dandelion leaves are sort of, well, actually I have one, but I have one. It's sort of like jagged edges like this. All right. So the way we're going to show that is, and I'm going to use my bigger brush for this, and they'll be a bit darker also. And we're going to show them by just sort of going back and forth like this, just a wavy kind of line like this. And I'm just putting them in anywhere. Some over here, wavy line, make some of them taller, make some more along the bottom, add some more down here. Back and forth like so. Okay, wavy line. Okay, so take a minute to put those in. And also this is a good time to sort of check and see for, you know, if you've got them dark enough, you know, add more dark green or add a little bit of blue to them to make them a bit darker. So take a minute to sort of finish that part up. Okay, the dandelions. I'm going to go back to the reference here for a sec. Okay, our reference, you can see where, you know, I put in, like these became quite dark down here. I also darkened some of the stems and made the flower part, in some cases, even a little more orange so that it stands out. It was kind of hard to do just the yellow against the background. So. Okay, sign it and put the date on it. And one more thing, when we do these watercolors always, and you've seen these every time we've done them, I put tape around so that it is going to stay put on the paper and not move all around on it. When you take the tape off, you end up with a picture with a border around it, which I think is very nice. So that's our dandelions, and that's our arts and minds for today. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you will try this and send us photos of your masterpieces. Okay, so see you next week, I hope, and in the meantime, take care.